Hey everybody, welcome in. It is ready time for Three Guys Before the Game. It's our first post-game edition of the 2023 football season. Title of the show, Clawed by Lions. Clawed by Lions. C-L-A-W-E-D, not C-L-A-U-D-E. Clawed by Lions. We welcome you, and it's episode 484. West Virginia falls to the Nittany Lions of Penn State by a final score of 38-15. We'll break it down. What do the numbers say? We'll get into that, plus your texts and more. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Comax Business Systems. By the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. There were miles of RVs at the Penn State game, and I think all of them came from Burdett Camping. Haven't confirmed that yet. We're looking into it. Probably by the end of the day we'll know. Three Guys also brought to us by the place you go for good times, Gomart. Gomart.com. Go to the website. Sign up. Make sure you get that rewards card. Every time you go in, you save money on your gas, you save money on your food. Check it out. Gomart.com. And Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Gorgeous day to be out there pontooning today.
The lakes will be busy today as we record on Sunday.
Yeah. What's that? When do people normally take that boat in for the season?
Oh, you've got a few weeks yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can get through September.
Through September.
Oh, sure.
That's really pretty there when the leaves are on them trees, probably, all colored up there.
You can get into October a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, visit LouWendellMarineSales.com, the official Avalon boat pontoon salespeople, and also, of course, the people that provide the pontoon boats. If James Bond is in a pontoon in a movie, sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't, but whenever he's in a pontoon, they get those from Lou Wendell Marine Sales right in St. Albans, which is kind of neat, isn't it?
Unconfirmed.
I'm working on that one as well, along with the Burdett Camping. Our crew needs to get these things confirmed. We believe that they are. All right, so the senator and I have not spoken regarding the outcome of the game. Literally. Got home, a little sleep, went up to my office, got the text questions organized, copied and pasted, and we haven't talked. So let's jump in. West Virginia falls by a score of 38-15. Not only I'm sure of our listeners interested on your take on the game, I'm also interested on your take of the game. Hit me.
I'll say this, and we'll niche this down. So I'll try and start big picture, and then we'll just go down through the different elements through the game. I think kind of what I expected going into the game. The strengths seem to be the strengths after one game for WVU. The weaknesses that we've talked about for months, I still have concerns about, and again, we'll start to identify each of those. I said all along, if West Virginia could get in there and cover the number and walk out of there with some things to build upon, I thought that's probably a realistic take for this game. I talked a lot about it in our pregame coverage yesterday. Penn State's lost, I think it's 13 times in a season opener in the history of that program. So it's over, what is it, 136 season openers. They've lost 13 times. So to think you were going to go in there and get the win was probably unrealistic. You also wanted to see how that looked versus the cover or not. Now, James Franklin, I am absolutely sure he would have no idea what the number is, because I know that none of those guys have any idea what the spread is. They don't pay attention.
He's probably pretty busy.
They never ever look at that. No one ever tells them. There's never any big donors that have money on the game. They would have no idea what the number is.
Okay.
But scoring a touchdown with 6 seconds left that pushes the number towards the Penn State side, somebody knows something there. Anyway, West Virginia almost walks out of their covering, and I know I'm going to get all kinds of texts for next week that's not about moral victories and fire Neil Brown and all the stuff you're going to get. But I thought there was enough good coming out of there for West Virginia that you have some things to build on. And Tony, I phrased it this way last night. It depends on what your expectations were. If your expectations were West Virginia was going to go in there and pull off the biggest regular season win in school history, you're probably beside yourself today. That didn't happen. But I'm looking at this as almost like a 2-game preseason situation. There was almost nothing you were going to do to win that game last night. So that's lost. There's almost nothing you can do to lose the Duquesne game next week.
With all due respect
to Duquesne, I'm knocking on wood, but I know you don't believe in jinxes, so I certainly didn't just jinx anything. So you're 1-1, and you come back, and I've said for a long time, I think the season's direction is determined a lot by the following 3 weeks. The Pitt game, the Texas Tech game, and at TCU. I've also contended for weeks there are wins in this league. For a lot of teams, from 1 through 14, it's incredibly balanced. From 4 through 14 in that preseason poll, it's remarkably balanced. That's 7.5 wins to 5.5 wins. Did that show up yesterday?
Yes.
TCU gets beat as a 3-touchdown favorite at home by Colorado, the story of college football. Baylor, how's Dave Aranda doing this morning? They yak one up. Texas Tech goes on the road as a 2-touchdown favorite at Wyoming. They get beat. So there are wins on this schedule. You just played the team that's most likely the best team you're going to play on your schedule. So I know I've just said a lot. My ultimate point is I thought it kind of went as you thought it was going to go. And the strengths are the strengths and the weaknesses are the weaknesses after a 1-game sample size, which is really small, I realize.
Okay. I accept all that. Yep. I'm totally with you on all of that. Okay, so now... grades in? Have we got report cards already?
Yeah.
You guys, so how do those guys? I mean, so they don't sleep?
No.
They just go. They do homework.
They get it in. Well, when's the most important time? Game just ended. You want them up today? People got things to do. Let's go get it today.
Does this qualify as potentially? Could this be used as? Yeah.
So I checked the numbers.
Spreads on stats. You take credit for this?
Okay.
Yeah, fine. Let's do this. Just don't get to use the song much. Here we go. Spreads on stats. What do the numbers tell us? And this is from, you're using PFF, correct?
Pro Football Focus.
You're not using, like lots of times you'll put different services together. This is
correct.
This is just PFF.
Correct.
All right, so this is Pro Football Focus. They have people that grade the players, that grade the entire thing. So here we go, spreads on stats. Walk me through. How many categories you giving us?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total categories.
All right.
I think highlight a couple that you would expect. I thought one of the disappointments coming out of that game for me is the defensive backfield. I thought at times there was too much cushion. There were too many open guys running through the defensive backfield, which is something we saw a lot of last year. I was under the impression that would change pretty significantly, and maybe it will as the season moves on. That's the other part. Give the disclaimer for the first game. We're making a lot of overarching judgments here with a really small sample size of one game. You've got to allow for the fact that things will improve and players will get better. But I thought that defensive backfield would perform a little bit better in coverage. The coverage grade per PFF coming out was just a 45. So that kind of backs up what you saw out there. There were some plays where it was just too easy for Drew Aller, and he was very good. He did exactly what he needed to do. You heard Neil say they were going to try and sell out to stop that running game, those wonderful running backs, which they did a decent job of containing them, and see if the freshman quarterback in his first start could beat you. And he did. He stepped up and had some passes, but there were a lot of guys that were open in that game.
Yeah.
The other part of that defensive backfield, we've talked all offseason about the need to create turnovers. You have got to get turnovers if you're this West Virginia defense. Only 4 interceptions last year, one of the lowest in Power 5. Man, you had opportunities. You had 2 blatant drops of interceptions last night, and Aubrey Burks on that long touchdown pass, man, I don't know how that ball got through there. He was not beaten that badly. He's laid out. It looked like the ball went right between his 2 hands. So would have been a difficult interception, but it was there for the taking, and certainly a pass that could have been batted down. Just bad luck on that one. So West Virginia's got to create more turnovers and hold on to those balls that are their chance. So that's the first grade you look at. Coverage at 45 on a game just simply has to get better.
You doing this for individual players, or do you want to?
Let's just go overall right now, because I think that's the biggest part, and then I'll niche into some individual players. Another concern, we'll get into the offensive line and talk about the running game, because I thought this team did some really good things on the ground. I thought Garrett was very good with his legs. So the thought that this offensive line and this running game will be good, I think is still alive. I thought they did some nice things against what's a very talented defensive front of Penn State, as we know. But the pass blocking grade, just a 25. And you saw that. I mean, Garrett was under some pressure. So that whole passing game clearly needs a lot of work. Garrett's completion percentage was a little better than last year, 59% versus 55, but that's got to continue to climb. You have got to find a way to get some receivers downfield. I think that's the biggest thing that jumps up. 6 an even 6 yards per attempt last night. We talked last year, West Virginia was 6.2 and 6.4 for the two quarterbacks last year that were the two lowest in the Big 12 in yards per attempt. It was 6 last night. To compare and contrast that, Drew Aller, and I know he had the big 72-yard play, Drew Aller's yards per attempt, 11 yards. Mm-hmm. So West Virginia's either going to have to find somebody that can get deep or try and scheme something. That's a challenge, but you better figure out how to loosen that defense up.
I think you make a really good point. The problem is that at this point, E.J. Horton did not play in the game. He was supposedly going to be a vertical threat, and he was out of the game with an injury. Don't know how long he'll be out. Other than that, you have some concerns. Could that become Traylon Ray getting down the field? But at this point, you've got no true, legitimate speedster to force defensive backfields to honor you. And as a result, everything gets pushed up. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge. Now, you saw Devin Carter get behind them once. That looked to be the result of a blown coverage. But outside of that, that was really the only thing that was able to be thrown downfield. So that's got to work. Pass blocking, again, you were going against a team with a couple of elite pass rushers, but this is an elite offensive line, so certainly you can't have a pass blocking grade of 25 as you go throughout. One other disclaimer on these grades, they may change slightly throughout the day as they continue to grade the film. So take that with a grain of salt that there may be some tweaks to this.
Okay, did you give me run grade?
Run offense grade, really good, 78, which you would expect, right? Run blocking grade, 72.5, so that was good. And, specifically, excuse me here, tell you why I put my glasses on so I can make sure I see here.
Those are really nice.
Those
new?
No, had them for a couple years. Thanks for noticing. Newsflash, Zach Frazier, pretty good. He takes guys and beats their beep. 40% of West Virginia's team rushing yards came between those A gaps, so either right behind him or just to his left or right. Now, again, those numbers aren't a surprise. You would expect that, but that's pretty impressive. They just rode Zach Frazier. And I did like the new West Virginia Eagles Philly push. Philly rode that to the Super Bowl last year. Yep. That was extremely effective.
Traylon Davis. He just kind of he puts each of his hands around Garrett's hips and kind of like just beanie babies them, right? Just kind of.
So that's pretty good. Line up right behind Zach Frazier. And then Frazier had a couple good pushes himself. Should have one rushing touchdown when he picked Garrett up and kind of just threw him into the end zone. Yeah. So Zach Frazier's a stud, but you didn't need me to tell you that.
All right. Anybody else run grade-wise, individual, pop out?
Yeah, stand by.
We're efforting at this point. You hear the couple mouse clicks right there. He's efforting toward it.
CJ had a really good game, right? Graded out at a 76% offensively, so you would expect that. I thought he looked really good, and he's just effortless when he runs, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. He looked really good.
Finished up with 81 yards on 18 carries with a long run of 17, so he didn't have a big, huge one. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry.
Okay, who else? Ask me a question. I'll tell you. Devin Carter graded out pretty highly in what was a very tough matchup. So we thought all offseason he'd be your most reliable receiver threat. I don't know that last night changed my opinion of that. He made some nice plays. Quite frankly, one of his best plays of the night might have been down that far sideline when he went up on a pass that looked like a sure interception. Yep. And he went up and did a nice job at defensive back there.
Yeah, so he finished up leading West Virginia in catches, 6 for 90. So he was targeted 8, caught it 6 times. I was surprised that Cole Taylor, the tight end, only got targeted 3 times.
Yeah, good 3 catches by the tight end. So we talked about that. Traylon Davis had 1.
2 for
Taylor
him.
had 2. Taylor had 2. Traylon Davis with the 1. So that's got to, I think, continue to evolve and be a part of the offense that you need. Now, again, go back and watch this. I'm wondering if the tight ends couldn't be used as much in the pass game because you still needed some help in the pass blocking.
Probably.
That happened a lot last year. So hopefully, as you face less aggressive pass rushing teams, you can get those guys out in routes more. Because the concern you had at the receiver core coming in was who beyond Carter was going to be the guy. You had hoped Cole Taylor might have to emerge. That I still think that holds true, right? Who's your number 2 receiver right now? You don't have an answer for me. So that's got to continue to evolve. Who wants to step up and catch those balls after you get them to Devin Carter?
All right. What else you have for me? You need to go back to the glasses, or you can see it all right?
I think I can see it all right.
Okay.
I think those are a lot of my big numbers.
What you got anything in regard to, let's talk about West Virginia's rush defense. Penn State finished up with 146 on the ground. Obviously, Singleton and Allen, 2 very, very good running backs. Maybe the 2 best tandem. I'm not saying the best running, but the best 2 on a team that West Virginia will face this season. They get 146, and their average per rush finished up at 4.2. West Virginia's average per rush finished up at 3.7. Anything there stand out? Defensive line, any particular player stand out defensive line-wise?
You got a 63 grade on your run defense, which, again, against that team, that's probably not terrible. And if you take it from, again, a game plan perspective, that you were worried with them about the big explosive plays from the running game. They just didn't have them. They didn't have a run over 15 yards all night. So I think you walk away with a victory there. I think overall, that's not a bad job from West Virginia run defense-wise. I'll give you some specific run defense grades here for the Mountaineers. Lee Koba was obviously very good, graded out at nearly an 80, 78. Lance Dixon, 71. Mulba didn't have a ton of snaps, just 14, but had a 70 grade. Hammond Russell in there with a 67 grade. He only played 5 snaps. So you had some guys in there with some decent grades. Not dominant performance at all, but I thought the run defense was certainly ahead of the pass defense.
So, again, you get to use it once a year. You improve your most from your first to your second game. I think you put it perfect context to what we're doing here. View this as the first 2 games as, okay, we kind of could figure out what the results were going to be before the season ever started, right? Now the question is how you come up your ladder as the season goes on. Because like you, I think there are games, there's games on this schedule. West Virginia can have a successful season. West Virginia can win games. But as you also said, there's this really small margin among the 4 to the 14 or 5 to the 14 in this conference. So who's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potentially wins? That's the margin that you're going to be in.
Those are all in play.
In that group. So where are you going to go? What are you going to be? Are you going to be the 5? You're going to be the 6, the 7, the 8? Ball all of a sudden really gets going. You 9. It's all there. But this month of September, and I've said this a bunch of times, it's go time right now, because before this month is over, West Virginia still has 4 more games. 41% of your season is going to be done before the first day of October. 41% of your season. And you have absolutely got to win these 3 coming up at home. You just saw Tech gack it at Wyoming, which makes them real. Now, yeah, they do have Oregon. I don't buy into that thing. They're already looking toward Oregon because they got Oregon this coming week in Lubbock. You got to make your money. You got to go back out on the road at 3-1 to go to TCU. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, correct. And even that, you should, and I know Neil Brown, since he's been here, the road wins have been few and far between. I get that. But you've got to look at TCU is not what they were last year. I've been screaming about that for a month. All due respect to the Horned Frogs. There was some extreme luck that came with last season. They were very good, took advantage of their opportunities, but 1-score games, playing against backup quarterbacks, that just doesn't happen every year. And you start to see a little of that luck run out yesterday. That doesn't mean you're going to go into TCU and win, but that's a game you got to look at and say, all right, how do we get wins out of that? And that's why I continue to say what I've said for a month. That 3-game stretch is what starts to decide this season. There's some wins after that on the schedule, and you can make some hay, but what are you going to do against Pitt, Tech, and at TCU? One other point for a minute. Let's talk about Garrett Green for a second, because I've sat on here since he appeared and sat right in this chair, and he said, I've got to be able to throw the ball when I have to throw the ball to win games. I know that. Since that moment he was here, what have I said about Garrett Green? He cannot turn it over. If he doesn't turn it over, you can get some different sets and play calls. I thought you saw that last night. No turnovers for Garrett Green. So I should have led with that. As much as I've hollered about that all offseason, that was an excellent job. No turnovers, ball control, and you saw the offense get more diverse. I know people are going to scream and holler about individual play calls, the 4th down play call with Nico. I get all of that. But there were different plays last night that you have not seen in the last 4 years. So I credit Neil and his play calling overall for mixing different things in there, and credit Garrett Green for protecting the football last night. Mm-hmm. That's a great start. If you can pick that performance up and carry it through moving forward, you got a chance.
3 guys before the game, brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center. Right now, they're offering $3,000 under the invoice. $3,000 under the invoice on all of their 2022 fifth wheels. And in addition to that, $10,000 off the awesome Forest River travel trailer and the toy hauler. $10,000 off. Check them out. at BurdetteCamping.com. That's BurdetteCamping.com.
One other number.
Excuse me?
One other number for Garrett.
What is it?
His running accounted for 41% of your first downs last night.
Mm-hmm.
So when I said the strengths appear to be your strengths and the weaknesses appeared to be the weaknesses last night, Garrett's ability to take off and make plays with his legs, that's going to be critical. You're going to have to ride that this season.
That's what we talked about, right? Last Thursday in the preview, we said, is it realistic to think he can get you 50 to 75 yards a game? The answer is yes, and by the way, he has to.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he has to. Also, Jalen Anderson just never got it going last night, but it's there. It's there. He's going to make plays. And Justin Johnson obviously didn't factor into it, but I think they do have three quality guys. And, I'm going to prescribe for the moment my tried and true. It's never as bad, never as good, somewhere in the middle. The question becomes, what exactly is the middle? We're going to find out really soon. 3 consecutive weeks, we're going to know exactly where this Mountaineer team is. Would you care to hear some music?
Sure.
For those of you watching it on YouTube, how do you like our new graphic? I think that's the first time we've ever used that graphic. What's that?
I do miss the rotary phone.
We might have used that before. So Textual Healing, we're available to you 24/7, 304-404-4083, 304-404-4083. Anything we can do for you during the 24/7 time. Water leaks, carpet needs to be replaced. Put it in, 304-404-4083. Textual Healing is brought to us by episode800.com. That's our website where we sell our merchandise. Matter of fact, I think you can get this shirt that I'm wearing today.
Yeah, that's on there.
Yeah,
episode 800.
It's on there. It's a really comfortable little light shirt, but we got a lot of nice super stuffed quarter zips with the weather getting ready to change. Plus, we have our coffee, which I'm drinking right now. This is the morning. You got some in it? This is the morning brew from the fine folks down there in Greenbrier County.
Mountain Table.
It's really good. Yeah, Mountain Table. Hey, by the way, how are we doing on the? Got a home game coming up here on Saturday. How are we doing on the 3 guys before the game food court? Oh, got a problem?
Believe there's some meetings this week trying to effort. People like to make things hard. I'll just say that.
I really hope
people like to make some things that should be easy hard, and some things that are an absolute disaster mess they just turn a blind eye to. So let me just say that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you have to make things hard.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't go that way. I hope it doesn't become hard. Ready to go?
Sure.
We're going to get into some more of these plays and things because the texters, there was one general theme. Among all the texts, so we'll talk about that. Hi, Tony, Brad, and out for a break, Hoppy. Enjoyed watching us compete for large portions last night, but overall we just seemed overmatched. I do think Garrett Green could win us some games with his feet this year, but we've got to see some improvement in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being honest, I don't really need any sort of healing textually when it comes to WVU football, but I am writing with a request. My brother Philip Bowen will be on the live semifinals broadcast of America's Got Talent this Tuesday, September 5 at 8 p.m. on NBC. WVU has been very good to Philip so far on his musical journey. I'm reaching out to implore all of Mountaineer Nation to watch and vote that evening. Yeah.
Well, sure.
Well,
really talented, Philip Bowen.
Yeah. I would say if there's one thing that West Virginians traditionally and historically have been able to do, it's vote. We know how to vote early, often, repeatedly. So, yeah, West Virginians, get in there and vote for Philip Bowen. We are Montgomery, West Virginia natives, and Phil always reps West Virginia proudly, far and wide. Hoppy's been kind enough to have Philip on that bi-monthly coffee clatch thing that he does down there at that radio station. My family is super appreciative of any and all support. Go Mountaineers. So, if you would, hopefully you're listening to this before Tuesday at 8 p.m., make a note on your phone or whatever it is that you use to remind yourself of things, and like put it down like I'd say like 7:57 p.m. on Tuesday. Have a thing ring at you, and then vote for Philip Bowen as he appears on America's Got Talent, 8 p.m.
Endorse. I second that.
Yeah. LeVar Arrington's really big.
Excuse me?
LeVar Arrington, the former Penn Stater,
Yeah.
NFL guy.
Yeah.
He was doing the game in the booth next door.
Yeah.
Ooh. I just looked at him. Now, he was not wearing equipment. Right. He wasn't wearing equipment.
Yeah.
And he walked by, and I went like,
You take up the hallway?
could you imagine him coming off that edge? Good Lord.
You wouldn't like to be hit by him?
How do those quarterbacks how do they breathe after he hits you? Right? Just a dude. Gave me a compliment.
Gave you a compliment?
He did.
What'd he say?
Well, I was waiting. He was at halftime, you got to check in at the restroom. Penn State.
Excuse me?
You got to check in, you go to the restroom.
Was there a single restroom?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry? There's one restroom. There's 372,000 seats in the stadium. They only have one restroom in the press box?
Their place is a paradox. So they've got some brand new stuff in that stadium, but there's some things that I swear to you have not changed since the day they built it.
And one of those is having one potty?
So they have two bathrooms, but there's just a toilet in each room. Here's the funniest thing. The sink in there, you can't find a smaller sink. You can go to Lowe's, you can go to Depot, you can go to Menards, you can go 84, you can go to OC Plus. Say, hey, I need the smallest sink in the world. Sink's about like this. It's like, it must have been like when people had smaller hands. That's what I think it was. Because teeny sinks.
Tiny sink.
Yeah.
Was the toilet regular sized?
Yeah. They got that one. But the sink
But there's just one of them.
So like in 1827, whenever they put the stadium together there, it's like they don't make them anymore.
Shocks me.
Like if you went there and said like, hey, I need one of those sinks they have at the Penn State media in the press box, they go, well, they don't make those anymore, too small. Anyway, so point is, so I was waiting for him, and you just sit the whole first half, you get tight. So I was just doing some downward. I wasn't doing a downward dog.
You didn't go downward dog.
No,
you didn't go down on your hands in the press box.
What do you call the other thing when you just go straight down and put your palms down on the ground?
Well, I can't get my palms all the way to the ground, but just regular hamstring stretch.
Yeah.
Like old school 6th grade calisthenics.
So I was I just was putting my palms down on the ground. He walked by. I said, dude. So
the yoga's paying off. You got a compliment on your stretchiness from LeVar Arrington.
He goes, dude, you got it figured out there. I said, what's up, VAR? Nah, I really didn't. But I did stretch. But anyway, Texter. Two guys, proof that Morgan from Morgantown is real. Interestingly enough, Morgan was the only person Hoppy made contact with before slipping out the back at his beer release. I really do hope to see those. Thanks for having us shirts up for sale. Yeah, well, those aren't coming out. But then so he sent me a picture of his license, and that is his name, Morgan.
His driver's license?
Yeah.
His name is Morgan from Morgantown.
Morgan from Morgantown, yeah. Steve, not Cal in Cal, checking in. Was it Barrett Green who gave Michael Vick the okie dokie on the sideline? It was him, I think. Makes sense, as he was known to draw yellow hanky or 10.
I have for years, I think, falsely accused of Barrett Green being the guy that pulled up for that exact reason.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. It's not Barrett Green. But I thought that for years. Sorry, Barrett. But Barrett hit you right in the face.
With all due respect, he would. Texter, congratulations. 6 years of great analysis, previews, reviews, general fun. Not an episode goes by without you guys causing me a smile or sometimes an outright belly laugh, much like TC does while listening to Dan Wetzel. I've only been listening since January, but I will often go back and listen to earlier shows. Keep up the great work, and I, like many others, hope that you go well beyond 800. Signed by Dink from Bridgeport. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dink.
It is kind of wild when we look at the stats, how people, like past episodes that are like super long ago, like people still download and listen, which is kind of neat.
Which the summer series past interviews, that doesn't surprise me. The people listening to the Texas Tech preview from 19 seems a little.
It really does.
That.
You go like, why would they? Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. Keep doing it. Texter P1 Jason in Mobile checking in. It's been a while since I've written. The talk of how Reese Cups started as singles and have moved on to now be the candied confections that come in a multitude of sizes and shapes brings me to the following question for you guys. I want to see if I'm the only one with this problem. When I see a king-size 4-pack of the cups, I pretty much always pass on them because the gluttonous fool that I am, the quantity of these I can actually take in if I'm even mildly hungry is way higher than 4. How many regular size cups can each of you take? My number is shamefully in the 8 to 12 range easily, so I avoid them except for social occasions and special occasions. I also don't remember you guys ever mentioning the added dimension of how much better they are if you keep them in the fridge.
Excellent, Jason. Totally with you. I think 8 to 12 would be easy. I'm a gluttonous fool as well. I try not to just take, I've not tried that. I probably shouldn't try that. I'm with you. I could hammer them.
That's interesting.
I could hammer them. Now, I will say this. I am not an in-the-fridge guy. I know some people like that. Certain things I go fridge. Girl Scout cookie, Thin Mints in the freezer instantly. Reese's, no. I like when they're soft and a little melty.
Interesting.
But I respect your decision, Jason.
Well, as you know, I can be a consensus All-American when it comes to gluttony, but the most of those regular-sized Reese Cups I could ever eat be in the 4 to 5 range.
Yeah, well, that's not you. I mean, a tub of peanut M&Ms out there, you can take that down in 2 sittings. Yeah, right. You're absolutely a tub of M&M, guys. You're not a Reese guy.
Yeah. Texter.
Big salad in a glass bowl, though. You can eat about 4 pounds of lettuce.
Yeah, I can do some unbelievable things with the salad. Tony, I want your take. No, wait a second. Let me start again in English. Tony, I want to take your mauve and raise you taupe.
Taupe.
Tony, I want to take your mauve and raise your taupe. That is taupe. Man, the 80s and the 90s were wild. Honorable mention to Teal. Signed by Chris the Rebel and Marietta. Also, it wasn't Perlo Bastine, not Grant that led up on the sideline. My mistake. I think we got to find out who the heck that was. Someone tell us.
It's out on YouTube. I've seen it. That's when I've realized it wasn't Barrett.
Who was? I
can't remember.
I think it was a defensive lineman.
I think it was too. I don't think it was Perlo.
I think it was a defensive lineman who had also had some issues in the past of hitting people late, and that's why he kind of laid off. I just think that was. Texter. Only 10 years? That means 4 more years. I was talking about the Beatles here. Only 10 years they were together. That means 4 more for us, which will absolutely kill me considering that Dan Patrick is also retiring in 4 years. Tony, have you ever met Dan Patrick? If so, any neat stories? Signed by Adam in Adamston. Probably not his real name or
location.
I have never met Dan Patrick. I think he's incredibly talented. He is.
I
didn't realize so he says he's already announced he's calling it down in 4 years, huh?
Had not heard that.
I know he's I know he's got medical issues. Yeah, he's a great talent. Texter, my daughter is a Marine officer and a West Virginia University grad. She got 1 day off while she was in the Middle East, and this happened. She's on the far right How about that?
Very nice. Well done.
In the Mideast.
Well done. And thanks for your service.
Singing that. Thank you very much. And yes, and thank you very much for your service. Texter. Paul from Tampa. Hello. You mentioned the Florida-Utah game on your last podcast. Well, as game time came last Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, I turned on ESPN on my Spectrum cable, only to be greeted by a black screen that promptly turned into a message that Spectrum could not negotiate a fair price with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So they yanked ESPN from their lineup. It was out of the blue. You are always talking about the future of revenue streams and television packages for college sports. What do you think this means going forward? I can tell you what it means to me. Goodbye, Spectrum Cable. On another note, I wanted to add to your Flying WV winter collection. Here it is at the Arctic circle near Novi Urengoy, Russia on my last month in the Arctic gas fields before escaping to Tampa Bay. Go Mountaineers. How about that? So that cat's in Russia.
Wow.
And he's got flying the big WV flag.
That's a good trade. Snow in Russia to Tampa.
Yeah.
Well done.
Arctic guy there.
There were a lot of people screaming about that blackout there from Spectrum Cable, and I get it, man. That would make you absolutely bonkers. You pay a ton of money per month for cable, a ridiculous amount of money for cable each month, and the provider and the cable company can't figure out how to pay each other, so you're penalized even though you're dropping hundreds of dollars a month. Get your bleep together out there with that crap. That's so brutal.
To your question, Paul, how do you see this thing shaking out? I mean, the die has already been cast. You're going to move away from paying those cable bills monthly, and it's going to become a la carte. And you're going to be a subscriber to these streaming services. If you want it, that's how you're going to get it down the road.
I'll say this, though. I mean, you're right. That's where it's headed. But for those of us that are P1 watchers of everything, that sucks. That's a bad development for me because I love watching the NBA, as you know. But when I have to
you work for them.
When I have to pay for the NBA separately, if I can't get the team to pay for it for me, that's brutal. I'm gonna start having to get stuff away. When each conference, now maybe there'll only be 2 here before long, start making you pay just for their product, things are going to go away. That's going to bum me out as an extreme watcher, but I know I'm on one end of the spectrum.
Texter, hello guys. I'll call this submission total disrespect. Saturday morning, opening day, college football, exciting. I open up a story on ESPN.com. They list the programs by conference with the best odds to win the national championship. And then he goes on and he lists them. For example, the SEC, minus 115. The Big Ten, plus 175. Pac-12, plus 170. ACC, plus 120. AAC, plus 230. And does not list the Big 12. Does not list the Big 12. Guy says, are you kidding me? Ignorance, incompetence, intentional. Just another reason to hate ESPN. Unbelievable.
Well, that's got to be an oversight. I mean, you can find odds all over the place for a Big 12 team to win it. I mean, Texas is one of the teams that's in the top 6 or 7 favorites, so it had to be just be an oversight.
That was from Joel, an alum in Atlanta. This was a pregame text. So this before the game happened from Michael and Culloden, Fudge guy.
Great fudge.
My heart is saying Oklahoma 82, Florida in the Peach Bowl, lock of the year, Georgia in the Sugar, Oklahoma in the Fiesta. However, my brain is screaming, remember, this is Penn State. You've suffered through many disappointments that comes with playing. Well, unfortunately, you were right. Texter says, with the additions to the ACC, will they change the name to mean All Coast Conference? Kevin, not from Kevin, Montana. Thought on that, because since we got together, the ACC did pull the trigger on Calford and SMU. I was chatting with someone, and they said, massive step here, beginning of the end, in that those 3 schools just waved their arms and said, we're not of the same value of you. Yep. Would you let us in?
Yep.
That was 9 years SMU's not getting
I know.
paid.
I said almost a decade
9
on Sportsline. Almost
years.
a decade. It's nearly a third of $1 billion they are foregoing to get in that league, which is just bizarre. And you're right. That's what they said. We're just dying so much to get into this club. We'll just come in. We don't need your money. We'll raise it. The other part that's just totally bizarre, and what are we doing? The discussion that they're going to use Dallas and SMU as a central hub to minimize some of the travel for the two. Huh? We're just going neutral site? Like Stanford's world-class swimming program is going to load up with Cal and just fly over on a Tuesday for a tri-meet with Wake, and they're going to do it in Dallas? Huh?
So stupid.
What in the hell are we doing?
So stupid.
Somebody get some control of this thing, man.
No one will. No one will. So stupid.
We're going to meet in Dallas for neutral site games?
Yep.
This is AAU travel ball.
Yeah. It is. It's the beginning of the end. Beginning of the end. By the way, crowd last night was 110,000. Is that what it was? 747, 110,7.
Ever.
Fourth largest ever. Texter, They played a lot of games there.
So last year, West Virginia goes to Pitt, and it's the largest crowd ever in that stadium. This year, West Virginia opens at Penn State. It's the fourth largest ever. They've had some big games in that stadium. Huh.
Yeah, why would you want to play these games?
TV rating's probably good last night, too, huh?
Imagine.
Any TV executives know that? They watching that?
I don't know. How'd the guys do on NBC? You heard anything?
Don't know.
No one was screaming, right? I didn't see anything where anyone was screaming.
I mean, you had two pros. I'm sure they were.
Noah popped in there.
Noah Eagle?
Yeah, he popped in to say hello. We did the handshake. Did the the Syracuse handshake thing. And he's amazing talent. 25 years old.
Yeah, he's very good.
25.
And I think Todd Blackledge, I know he's a Penn State guy. People are probably going to text us next week, say he was awful. And I think Todd Blackledge is really good and has been really good for a long, long time.
I think he's elite.
Yeah.
I think that the combination of Sean and Todd was wonderful. I talked to Todd, too, yesterday because I've known him for a long time. Todd and Dwight Wallace and Todd's dad, Ron. So he came in, did not realize Todd Blackledge's son, Todd, you know his son played baseball at TCU?
Did not.
Yeah, transferred. Now he's he's in North Carolina. Elon or what's in Hickory? Lenore Rhine. So Todd lives there as well in the Charlotte area. Wonderful state. Bo from Somersville writes, hey, three guys, our favorite place to be on a Saturday in the fall will always be the Blue Lot at Mountaineer Field, but if we are opening on the road, I guess watching from one of our favorite spots to be in the summer will do just fine. Let's go, Mountaineers.
This is nice.
Bo from Somersville. P.S. This is a Lou Wendell pontoon.
Yeah, nice.
Well, that's nice, right?
Bo, that's well done. Great shot, great view.
Awesome.
Flag, look at that bench seating right there. That's how you do a pontoon. That's nice.
Now, they got it down right now. They don't have it up right now.
No, because he looks like he's in some shade there. You can see the awning in the back there. You can pop that thing up and get a little shade if you need to. Very versatile, those pontoons.
Premier pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia, located in St. Albans, been in business for over 40 years. If you're in the pontoon world, wanting one, needing one, these are the folks. Plain and simple, regarded as the number one pontoon boat dealer in our state. Lou Wendell Marine Sales and Service, LouWendellMarine.com.
You know what I might do? Marketing's not my primary occupation anymore, but it was for a long time. If I'm Lou Wendell Marine, I might reach out to Bo from Somersville here. That's a great James Bond pontoon. It's very nice. I'm going to take a look at that picture there. I might slide that in there. Get a little local flavor to their advertising. I mean, it's beautiful.
You think when they do a Bond, you just leave the flying WV stuff on it?
I think that becomes the picture.
Oh, yeah. I get you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
That's one of their boats in West Virginia waters. Looks awesome.
Yeah, perfect.
He might reach out to Bo there, provide him a little discount on service or something, and use that.
Maybe the folks at Lou Wendell can make Bo a brand influencer. But he'd probably have to start doing a bunch of TikTok videos and dancing on the boat and things like that if he wants to do that, because that's what those influencers do.
Yeah, I think you got to dance.
Maybe Bo can dance. Texter, Greg in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We've waited 10 years to welcome our new Mountaineer. Hudson Ray was born on the 17th of August, and he's ready for the game tonight. I thought you would like the onesie. Awesome. That is fantastic. Congratulations. You waited 10 years. Awesome, man. Congratulations to you.
Hey, speaking of congratulations.
Yeah, what do you got?
I was over, it was a late game last night, of course. So I went ahead and I need some extra hours. So I picked up a second shift over at Daniel's. I was in there Tuesday. Picked up a second shift yesterday.
You went in yesterday?
Sure.
Because it was a late start?
Late start. Had some time. Went over. Needed some hours. Picked it up.
How'd you do?
Good. Busy. Revolving door. A lot of people coming through there. We did a lot of folding, a lot of moving of stuff. A lot of merchandise going out the door. But I was fortunate to meet a father and son duo that were on their way to State College from Elkview, of course. Stopped at Daniel's there to pick up some new gear. little pit stop, and then on the way to State College for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So the Suttles from Elkview were very, very nice. Father and son, extremely nice. Excellent that you weren't there. They're accountants. They're accountants. So they were glad to meet me, glad that you weren't there. So thank you, guys.
I've heard that name as accountants. I've heard that name. You get the spelling on that?
Yeah, I got it. We'll talk off air. They're very nice.
You think they might want to? They want spreads on stats? Did we talk about that at all?
Well, I didn't talk about that with them, but somebody did reach out to me about you being unable to follow up on leads and remember who the accountants were that reached out. So I've got that information. I'll pass along after the show.
Good job.
So anyway, I'm very big with the accountants. You, not so much.
Hey, two guys and Hoppy's ghost. It's James, the fan who made you 3 the keychains last winter, and I hope you like them.
Very nice.
During halftime of the WVU Penn State game, I switched over to watch the game between North and South Carolina, which Sean McDonough was on the call. Tony, after hearing your impression of him, it's hard not to laugh. Thank you very much. Here we go. Chuck in Lumberport.
By the way, thanks for the keychains. It's in my car. Don't use it as a keychain. Prominently displayed in my car.
Decoration. Kind of a home finishing in your car.
Yeah, not like dice on the mirror, but I do have it in there. Thank you.
Chuck from Lumberport. I thought our defense played a great game. Why did we go for a trick play instead of putting 2 running backs in the backfield and run the ball? It wasn't like we couldn't run the ball or run the Pat White RPO. We had a lot of texts on that fake or trick play when they brought Nico in. I got nothing for you. I mean, I got nothing for you there on that one.
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Tried stuff, didn't work.
And it wasn't a comfortable execution of it.
No, it just did not. It didn't look good from the beginning. It is unfortunate, Nico, and again, easy for me to say from the comfort of a studio. I didn't have 2 300-pounders running at me. It's too bad he couldn't have just quickly seen and just shot-putted the thing up because CJ was sitting right there. If you just get it up over those 2 linemen there, that's a first down, and he runs for a bit. But again, easy for me to say.
Texter, well, thank goodness Neil's calling the plays now. That sure helped a lot. Texter, scoring a touchdown instead of taking a knee. NFL doesn't even do that there. Bush League, hashtag no class, Steve in Tennessee. Texter, hello, I've seen and done some stupid stuff in my 49 years, but Nico for a trick play on 4th and 2, stupidest thing I've ever seen. Frustrated in Southwest Florida. See you in Orlando, Tony. Brown's talking about former Mountaineer teams failing in Happy Valley instead of taking responsibility for being the worst play caller in the history of football. History of football. That's a lot.
Yeah, I thought the play calling last night overall, just, again, more diverse. You tried different things. You ran it. You threw it. I actually disagree with some of that criticism of the play calling. Is there individual situations? Sure, but you're always going to do that. And I thought overall, I thought it was much more diverse and creative than it's been, quite simply.
I agree with you. JD in the Southern Coalfields, in-game text. Oh, these are always hot. Here comes a burner. What in the bleep is WVU doing using a trick play with 3.5 minutes left? They don't have a reasonable chance of winning. Why not save it for a game in the future where it might actually make a difference? I'm baffled. Text, follow-up post-game text. So he came back after an in-gamer. What in the bleep are you doing running your starting quarterback on the last play of the game that you can't possibly win and risking injury? I don't get it. Absolutely, completely, totally unacceptable. Well, obviously, you could see that Neil was going to play that thing literally down to the final second. Used all of his timeouts, went for the 2. That was his decision. I'm going to play this thing. I don't care. I'm going to play this thing all the way to the very end. I'm not waving a flag. Onside kick. Texter, that takeaway from the Penn State game, from an optimist's view, is essentially that the quarterback isn't bad, the defense isn't bad, the running backs aren't bad, the receivers aren't bad. The fact is that under Neal has not been bad, and that's just been good for 6-6 or 5-7. They haven't had any home run hitters, even though Neal's supposedly been a lot better recruiter than his predecessor, and this appears to be more of the same.
Interested to see CJ. Hopefully CJ Donaldson stays healthy, because I think he's got a chance to be really good. He's just effortless when he runs. That big body's hard to bring down. So I'm interested to watch him. And then Garrett's improvement now throughout the season when he's the guy, we talked about this, instead of coming in having to just play 5, 7, 8 plays a game and trying to make something happen. Now the fact that you're the starter, you're the guy, you're getting the majority of the snaps, what does that do to his ability? You know, he had, if I'm remembering my numbers right, after his pass attempts last night, that's like 25% of his career pass attempts came last night. What do we always say about reps when it's in any business? Mm-hmm. And we keep saying completion percentage. He's got to get better on the pass, got to make the passes that are there. You would think that continues to grow as he gets more comfortable and has more reps throwing the football. So Green's ability to improve in the passing game, which I think you've got to expect is coming, coupled with his ability to run, I think you can do some things offensively with those backs in line. My belief in that has not changed from anything I saw last night. I'll just reiterate what I said at the beginning of the show. Who's the number 2 receiver? You have got to find a number 2. You know, Rodney Gallagher not playing last night until what, the last play of the game?
Last snap, yeah.
I know some of that, Neil, is formation. You moved out some slots for some other positions. Hopefully you get him greased up. And again, we mentioned that. I know that's not going to be a 50-catch guy most likely, but you've got to find some guys that can make plays from the receiver position. Mm-hmm. That was my biggest takeaway coming out of there.
And you got a wonderful opportunity this week to do just that.
Yeah.
Get these guys out there. Let Rodney Gallagher, let Traylon Ray, let them go. Let the horses out. Let's see what they can do. Give them a ton of reps. Get them comfortable on that field, because you've got Pitt the following week and then Texas Tech. By the way, since we printed, because we're very concerned about the environment on the show, we went 2 sides on the pages here. And so I was just finishing the other text. He continued, we're screwed. Our O-line and running game good enough to win 6 or 7 against the schedule. However, we'll still be meh and see the same in 24. Damn well better beat Pitt if he wants to keep his job. Signed by a unhappy customer. So there you have it. So what'd you think of doing this on Sunday?
It's fine.
You giving me fine?
That's not ideal. I'd like some more time to dive in. I can give you more information if I had more time on the PFF, which we'll do moving throughout the week. I know a lot of people think we only do one show, but we do Sportsline every night, 6:06. So if you'd like to tune in, we'll have some more stuff on there.
Yeah. And the reason why, see, we used to tape Mondays at 12:30 last season, but they've moved all the WVU football media to Mondays from 12 until past 2. And as a result, we're trying to figure out exactly when we're going to do our post-game. We'll still do the pre-Thursdays, but our post, we're trying to make our way through. Super shout out to Luke Rousey, Lucky Luke Rousey, our producer. I mean, he came in.
Did a great job.
Did a great job. I mean, he came in. He doesn't complain, right?
Came in,
smile, and use it. Did you catch that? New type of cologne I think he went with, too.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I just caught it by. Well, you're in here smelling the mold.
I'm in here sneezing.
Yeah, Senator's in here sneezing. But anyway, so we're out. Episode 484, Clawed by Lions. We're back on Thursday. We'll preview West Virginia and the Duquesne Dukes as we open up the home schedule. Will we open up the food court?
Efforting.
We'll know Thursday?
Efforting. Probably will not be this weekend.
Don't say that.
Probably will not be this weekend. People like to make it hard.
That's outrageous.
Working on and doing a nice community event would be great for the game day atmosphere. Just trying to work on things. Just trying to help. We're here to help. Would like people to help us. Just here to help.
Okay.
Everybody's hand out. Yep.
Hey, don't forget, the great folks at Comax are having their annual golf tournament to make money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And hole sponsorships are available. So if you're a business or a person who wants to sponsor a hole, they're $150. Go to their website at comaxwv.com, comaxwv.com, and buy yourself one of those sponsorships. They've got that golf tournament coming up later this month. They'll raise about $25,000 for Make-A-Wish in about 10 counties in West Virginia. Check it out, comaxwv.com. They are keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, efficient for 25 years. Three Guys also brought to us by the unbelievable people at GoMart. Go for good times, go for GoMart. Get your rewards cards, save every time you get fuel, benzine, petrol, whatever you want to call it, and some unbelievable food items as well.
I'd like to see some pictures this week as people are coming into the game, Milan Puskar Stadium. There's going to be a lot of GoMart pit stops for fans coming up.
100%.
Send us some pictures.
Three Guys also
especially of your food selection when you get inside. All kinds of food options. And drinks, coffee.
Getting big coffee. Three Guys also brought to us by Lou
Water.
Wendell. Sure, water's good. Hydration.
Coke, Pepsi.
Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Every pontoon that you see in the water in West Virginia comes from Lou Wendell.
Hold on. Start over.
What?
Start that read over. Hey, Luke, go ahead and put the Bose picture from Summersville up there if you would. Okay, go ahead.
Three Guys also brought to us by the official pontoon boat dealer of the state of West Virginia and Three Guys before the game. It's Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. They sell family fun. And by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at BurdettCamping.com. $3,000 off all 2022 fifth wheels, $10,000 off that special travel trailer as well. Check them out. Back with you on Thursday. Thank you so very much for listening. We be gone. Three Guys before the game. Also visit episode800.com for all of our merch. See ya.